Ever wondered how something as simple as clay can transform into a lifelike miniature plant? Join me as I take you through my process. It all starts with a simple piece of clay in my hands. I begin by molding it into the shape of a leaf, using my fingers to guide its form. Then I take my sculpting tool and etching the delicate veins that brings the leaf to life. With a few subtle bends and twists, I shape it further, making sure each leaf has its own character and movement. Once the leaves have dried, I attach a thin metal wire to each one with super glue. This not only supports the leaves, but also makes them easier to handle while painting. Now, I'm adding a nice coat of green paint, careful not to overdo it. I use my own judgment here. Too much paint and I'll lose the delicate details like the veins. Now comes my favorite part, adding those little details that give the leaves their unique character. I carefully paint the edges with hints of yellow and brown, mimicking the natural aging or weathering of real plants. Each plant is different, and I love capturing that uniqueness. Some leaves have touch of yellow at the tips, while others might brown in the specific areas. This part always makes me smile because it reminds me of the beautiful imperfections in the real plants I care for. And now I'm bringing that same life into my miniatures. Once the paint is dry, if everything looks good, it's time to seal the work. I carefully applied a sealant to lock in the colors and protect the leaf. It's important not to overdo it though. I like to find the balance, keeping the leaf looking natural. And with that, the leaves are done. Next up, it's time to focus on the branches and the trunk. For the branches and trunk, I use iron wire, though there are plenty of options out there like copper and aluminum. Honestly, I just grabbed what was available. But I'm curious to experiment with different materials next time to see if it makes a difference. Using wire cutters, I trim the pieces to the length I want. This part involves some trial and error to get the scale right, but it's always better to cut the wire longer than shorter. You can always adjust it later. Then comes the twisting, a lot of twisting, splitting the wires up to form the branches. There's no strict method here, I just go with what feels right. Now that the wire framework is done, I wrap the trunk using clay. There's nothing too complicated here, but I made sure the wires are fully covered. The key is to avoid making it too smooth. Branches in nature aren't perfect. The bumps and unevenness will help the trunk look more authentic, like a real tree. Now it's time to plant the trunk into the pot. A small pot like this one can easily be bought online or at an art store. I fill the pot with the same white clay. I add a bit of super glue before placing the trunk inside. Once the clay and glue are dry, the trunk will be stable and will be ready for painting. You might wonder why I didn't just use brown clay for the trunk. The reason is simple. White clay gives me the freedom to paint it however I like. Instead of sculpting every fine detail, I use a painting techniques to create the wood grain texture. This way, I can add more life and character to each trunk through the brush strokes. Now it's time to combine the leaves with the trunk. Using tweezers and a bit of super glue, I carefully attach each leaf, making sure to touch up any paint if needed. I don't count how many leaves goes on each branch. Instead, I focus on the feel and balance, filling in the negative spaces. My goal is that no matter how you view the plant, it looks beautiful and balanced from every angle. Lastly, I add some dry moss to complete the look. And with that, it's finished. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. See you in the next video.